Okay, our Hero 4 design is a grid-based design or a symmetrical design. So this may be a good solution if you have any issues or you're kind of fearful of an asymmetrical design like we showed in the Hero 3 demo. So why this solution works really well is simply because relying on a design with one image puts a lot of stress that that one image will tell an entire story. So what I mean by that is on my Revolution website, I have the opportunity to work on a history section. And so I've done a collection of images versus maybe using just this one image to help tell that story. So again, this allows me to experiment with a lot of images, ways to style those images, and ways to put an overall layout and story together. So how this works is first and foremost just setting up the grid that you would want to work with. So again, mine is 1280 by 768. If I go under View, New Grid Layout, if you make sure click Clear Existing Guides is set if you already have guides set up, and you can look at it and make sure you have Preview checked, and if you do, it'll do it on the fly for you. So I recommend a 4 or a 5 column grid just because it allows you to experiment more with scale and playing around with the grid. So I'm just going to use 4 by 4, and you can see in my design what I experimented with is I did a series of images along the side here at the 1 by 1. But based on the images themselves, I would experiment with a 1 by 2 or a 2 by 4. So again, a grid like this allows you to create a lot of different variations. And I have a image that stretches all 4 if I had a very vertical. And so again, you can kind of experiment with all different types of combinations. And what this allows you to do if you have to make 5 or 6 hero image headers for all of your different homepage and subpages, it will create a lot of variation without having to work too hard. Also, from an aesthetic standpoint, I made sure that all my images were working together. So what I mean by that is the color was off on all of them, and I chose just to make it black and white because of the historical section that I was creating. Again, if you're looking at color and also contrast in the images, that's what can really bring them together. We can see here that this black and white is in sharper contrast than my main image here. So what I would do is I would go through and make sure all these levels are set correctly before I would create a final image. Then also you can experiment with different layer styles as well. So again, on this image here, we're doing a screen. So just kind of playing around with the layer styles to see what the right tone is overall for the design. So maybe something more appropriate is to use multiply because it'll work with the black and white images a little bit better. So again, you have the opportunity to really experiment with a wide range of images. But one of the key things you want to do when using the photography is just simply making sure that the contrasts and the gray values all work equally together. Okay, thanks.